Well, my favorite object in the studio is probably this quilt. There's a piece of it back there too. It was kind of the first quilting thing that I did, and it's a quilt that was like my grandma's, and then I think actually her mom made it for her, and it kind of was just used by all of the women in my family. And it's very old and torn up, but I was able to start using it in some pieces, and that kind of got me into sort of taking apart fabrics and deconstructing those kinds of things, and definitely sparked my interest in quilts as a whole. This is my sewing machine. It's where I make my bobbins for the lace, so I have all of this carving tools. This is my bobbin lace pillow. I've been making lace with lots of different materials. I have some extra bobbins here. And these are a couple of the quilts that I've been working on with a lot of scrap material. So I've finished sort of the quilts. I'm working on stuffing them now. This one is being stuffed with onion skins that I've gotten from the restaurant that I work at. So hopefully I will get enough in time. This one here is kind of being stuffed with scraps from my studio, but I rolled it up to get it out of your way. But here's everything. My big stacks of fabric over there, and my balcony, all of its beauty. I feel like there's kind of two facets of my work and kind of my practice. I have like really intricate, slow, like repetitive stuff that it takes a really long time to do, but I love doing it. And that's probably, I like to spin my own yarn. I've used my hair, my friend's hair, my uncle's dog's hair, wool, things like that. And then I've been making lace using these little wooden bobbins that I've been making. So that practice is really repetitive and very intricate. And that is something that I've really loved doing. It puts my body into the work, and I think that that's really nice. But then I also have these pieces that are really wild and kind of aggressive, and that's sort of the more fast-paced and free part of my practice. With those I've been using natural dyes that I make myself, usually with foods like onion skins and beets, and then like hammering them into the fabric of, this is just canvas, and letting them kind of rot and decompose into it. And that's kind of a whole different thing, but it they're very interconnected, because doing the very intricate and slow-paced stuff calms me and kind of lets me be able to do the more wild and less controlled stuff. So this is the second big quilt that I worked on. These are bloodroot flowers, which are native to North Carolina, kind of in the mountains. All of the fabric is scraps that I already had, or things that I acquired from other people or other projects. And then under here is all of the onion skins that I have acquired. I got them first to use for dye, and it makes that really beautiful golden color. But the title of my show is Onion Lover. I've just wanted to really do something where you could see the beauty of the skins themselves, not just the color they produce. So hopefully with the lace being sheer enough, you should be able to see it come through. Something I'm really excited about. But I've been doing this sort of scrap quilting because I'm really struggling with the concept of having a ton of waste coming from my work. So this has sort of been my way to grapple with that. And also just the history of quilts and how they've been used in my family and in general. I love the kind of manual labor that comes with them. And this is really kind of dirty fabric, but it's really beautiful to me, and I'm hoping to make it into something beautiful. I would say some of the key influences for me are, it's kind of historical, I guess, like textile art, quilting, like domestic labor, the work that is done by women, specifically in my family, that is connected to me, but also, you know, kind of historically, it's got a lot of baggage to it, but a lot of the stuff I do is in the kitchen, or it's sewing, like traditionally things that would be considered women's work. This is an art thing, but I'm definitely influenced by like the crafting movement. But then I'm also very influenced by nature, being outside. I'm using a lot of natural materials and trying to be as sustainable in my practice as possible, so that's a huge influence for me as well.
What are some artists' influences?
Off the top of my head, Josephine Auslander has been one of my biggest influences. Really very little to do with the actual work that I'm making, but her work, Los Cuerpos, which was actually depicting like Argentina's dirty wars and like using the bodies of women as landscapes and all this stuff. That was kind of one of the first artists that I was like, this is so incredible, and it really inspired me with a lot of my other works that are more like body focused. Now probably people like Peta Coyne is a big one. Helen Frankenthaler was a big influence, especially with all of the like dyeing that I've been doing, the pouring and the dipping.